Welcome to Unfiltered Talks US. We cut through the noise and bring you the most powerful insights from the world's biggest podcasts, so you don't miss what really matters. So let's get started.
Ryan Routh.
Yes.
Let's talk about him.
We're filming today. I know it's going to air later, but they're actually going to give him a sentencing February 4th.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
So tomorrow. I just have to say the dates because I know we're not airing tomorrow. But the interesting part is, we talked about him previously because I put out a bolo on him way back in May of 2023.
Did you really?
Yes, because he was causing. Remember, at the time I was running a nonprofit in Ukraine, and he was. So the thing is, Ryan Routh went to Ukraine to be a fighter. Of course, he got there, and you have to actually have real bona fides to join the Legion. He tries to join the Legion. They're like, you have no background. You can't be in the Legion. So what he did is he went to Kiev, and Kiev kind of has I would call it a central market area of town, and he was hanging out there all day. He would hold up a sign with his phone number, and so he was telling people, reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with groups. And so I was one of the groups, and he would act like he's associated with us to put volunteers into our group. And of course we didn't take anything from this crazy guy. Well, then he decided, I'm going to be like a PMC or something. So then he makes up this whole ruse. I'm going to bring all these foreigners in to fight in Ukraine. So he makes a nonprofit. He puts the same phone number all over the place. He starts calling Afghan commanders. Hey, give me some of your fighters.
This is the guy. This is the guy that tried to kill Trump on the golf course in Mar-a-Lago, right?
Yes.
This guy was able to.
No, telling you. Okay. This is what he's trying to do. He's trying to recruit Afghans, people from Africa, etc. Well, of course, the Ukrainian government's like, we're not going to give any visas to Afghans, because if we did Afghans on our soil, people are going to think we're the most horrible people. Because think about it. Terrorists just took over the country of Afghanistan. If the Ukrainian government brought a bunch of Afghans in to fight and they'd be killed by a bunch of Russians, the whole world would be like, why are you using Afghans? You're taking advantage of these vulnerable people. So the Ukrainian government said, hell no, we're just not issuing these visas for any group. You could even have been a General Petraeus asking. So it was no across the board. So Ryan Routh didn't care about the facts, and he started literally getting Afghans to illegally come towards Ukraine, thinking they're going to fight. And of course, if they got there, Legion's like, you can't fight here. Our government said no. So he starts running these schemes. He's telling Americans, I'm helping in Ukraine. He's collecting donations, not huge sums, but this is funding his life there. So here's kind of where this part of the story comes in. So I report him. So I first report him publicly, and then my chief information officer in my NGO reports it to State Department. I talk to a couple other people, an Afghan commander, another NGO, and they report to the State Department. So of course this all happens. Ryan Routh tries to assassinate the president. And so my bolo comes out, because people start sharing it. Hey, there's this bolo a year ago. And so the press start calling me. So that was September 2024. So all these press outlets reached out to me, and I told them that little bit of my story. But I told them, we sent these complaints to State Department. So they call State Department, and they're like, we have nothing on record about Ryan Routh. Nothing at all. He's not even in our system. Well, then there was a FOIA request. I want to say it was Daily Caller, and it just came back a month ago. And there's tons of stuff in State Department files on Ryan Routh, and they were literally investigating him. And they lied to the press when they called about me, saying, we don't have his name anywhere in our files.
Just like what I was talking about with the cash.
Yeah, so they lied to the press. And it was funny. One of the guys in the press called me back, said, I just talked to State Department. His name isn't there. I said, I can promise you.
To protect the institution.
Exactly. And I said, I can promise you a year or two, you'll hear it's in there. Because every truth takes about 2 more years to come out. That's just how it works in the government. But, so with Ryan Routh, but it's really interesting. One other thing about him, about that plotting, didn't come out, and it should. So he did the whole thing that we all know on Mar-a-Lago. But remember, there's that thing where there's the deer blind. It was 12 feet up in the tree, and it was towards Palm Beach Airport, and it was where Trump brought in his plane.
I didn't even see that one.
Okay, so law enforcement found this deer stand in the tree, and they're like, we think it was to assassinate the president. Ryan Routh built that deer stand. That's why we never hear any follow-up on it, because everyone's like, who made the deer stand? And then they come back around and say he built the deer stand, because he can build stuff. He has like a background in some carpentry. But anyway, yeah, so he's hopefully going to get life in prison. They don't have like a death penalty or anything like that on the table.
Now here's where the conversation gets really interesting. Let's break down what this actually means.
Anyway, but yes, State Department lied. But it's just another great example.
Are they investigating it now, or the Butler one?
I don't know how any of those investigations are going, but obviously that would be what, FBI? Good luck. You know my opinions on how well FBI investigated Benghazi. I mean, I would not, if you told me FBI was investigating anything for me, I would either pay money and just have someone investigate it, or I'd be like, okay, I'm never going to get answers.
Yeah.
That's my level of optimism.
I think that's probably just about everybody's level of optimism.
And I'm fine if you reform the FBI, but it's never happening, so I'm at the point, just disband it.
Yeah.
I'm fine. We have a lot of great law enforcement in this country. We can do a different organization. Yeah. Bring in some quality people.
Jeez. What's the updates on Benghazi?
So we're still working the investigation because there's so many damn terrorists. You know, one of the really frustrating things happened last summer. So Al-Qaeda did this operational plan, and they were going to basically attack a prison where a bunch of our terrorists are held. So it's called Matiga Prison. It's just in Tripoli. Do you remember kind of like when Benghazi happened? There was like a real airport, and that's where Team Tripoli went out of. Well, then there was a military airport. So that was Matiga. The real airport ended up being like bombed by terrorists, and it closed. And then Matiga kind of became the prison. I mean, the real airport, but it had a prison always in it. So terrorists are kept in this airport prison, okay? So this is where pretty much all of our Benghazi attackers are who aren't with General Haftar's custody. So anyway, Al-Qaeda was going to go and overrun this prison and release our terrorists. So we found out about it and put it up publicly. And there was a lot of pressure on the Libyan government. Hey, you're going to let Al-Qaeda just attack a prison and free all these people. So then the Libyan government went to Al-Qaeda and like, we got to do this a little more quietly. We can't have a massive attack on the prison right now. The international community is paying attention. So this is what's crazy. So the prison's run by this organization called RADA. They're called the Special Deterrence Forces. They're almost like a militia. They're more capable than most militias in Libya, but they're not completely clean. So like that's where Ziad Balam was taken, and he was treated like a king while he was inside for the 10 days. So anyway, they're holding it. They get a letter from an American who works for the UN. Her name is Stephanie Curry, and she hands this letter to the head of RADA, and it says, in good faith, for your relationship with the UN in the United States, please release these 56 people. So it said, please release them in good faith. So the RADA guy looks through the names, and of the 56, 50 are terrorists from ISIS and Al-Qaeda, including Benghazi attackers. So I don't have the list, but I know some of the ones they were focused on is, so one of our terrorists, his name is Hisham Abu Sidra. We call him Kubayb during the attack because, that was his kunya. When he was captured a couple years ago, he was the head of ISIS in Libya, okay? Wow. So this is one person. Another one is Mohammed al-Gharabi. When he attacked us in Benghazi, he was the head of Al-Qaeda in Benghazi. And then the last one, Ayman Bouhamoud. So he, first off, is related. Remember how I said FBI paid off that witness to frame the mastermind? So he's his cousin. But then 2 years after our attack, he kidnapped the Jordanian ambassador. So anyway, so this list has 50 terrorists. So RADA goes back to this chick, Stephanie Curry, who works for the UN, she's an American, and says, this whole list is terrorists. We can't release these people. Well, I find out about it, and this prison is very important to me because a bunch of my attackers are in it. There are like 3 people in the entire West who give any damn about terrorists in this prison. If you asked me to write a list of 50 terrorists sitting in that prison today who are actively inside, I could not do it. So I'm like, there's no way an American woman could sit down and write that list. Like, I could in a month maybe put a list 2025 together, because people don't stay in that prison long. I told you, Ziad was only there 10 days. So sometimes they rotate in and out. So I was like, what the hell? Where did she get this list? Well, I find out where she got the list. So in Libya, there's this Grand Mufti. His name is Al-Sadiq Al-Ghorani. So he's the religious authority in Libya, but he's a member of Al-Qaeda, and he's a member of the Muslim Brotherhood, of course. And he has oversight of all religious stuff to do with the Libyan government, but it's not like American, it's separate. So he's also involved in oil industry, any kind of governance, trade, right? Because religious role in all of this. He gave her the list. So a member of Al-Qaeda gave an American a list of terrorist release that included some of our 2012 Benghazi attackers. Did you hear anyone do anything? What, Mike Waltz runs the UN? Nothing. Like, why are we having Americans trying to get Benghazi attackers released? Like, I'm so angry about this. It's so hard as it is to get these guys detained, I can't even tell you. But to know people who worked for my own government, like, are perfectly fine getting Al-Qaeda and ISIS terrorists released. The head of ISIS in Libya, you know how many people he killed?
I just.
And then I have to be collecting and trying to counter these stupid activities. That's the crazy part. There's also no entity in the U.S. government trying to do anything right.
If you're finding this valuable, make sure to like and subscribe for more breakdowns like this. That's it for today's breakdown. If you want more powerful insights from the world's biggest podcasts, make sure you subscribe to Unfiltered Talks US. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.